parameters to try to do it all in. And I'd be open to any kind of idea people had about what would be a better way for EIC to consider in the calendar process or development of a calendar.
I understand. Last, just briefly, is there a board representation on this EIC?
No, but you are welcome to attend any of the EIC meetings. We meet starting at 4:15 on board meeting days. We're down in the old boardroom unless we are going to go visit a site. We have a site visit to, I think it's Martinez coming up in one of the next couple, or in spring. I think we're going to go see Martinez and then go see Jefferson so they can see the pre-K buildings. But you guys are always welcome to come.
Are we informed as to when those board meetings, those EIC meetings are? Are we informed of that as to what dates that you have?
They're every board meeting day.
It's every board meeting.
It's every board meeting is what and so I need to share with you that the EIC chose to meet on Tuesdays, and they chose to continue that every year. They're asked, do you want to continue to have meetings on board meeting days? Is 4:15 work for everybody? And if anybody has a concern about the time, I've always told them I'm more than willing to contact their principal if they're a staff member at a building and tell the principal I need you to make sure they have coverage so they can get here on time for EIC meetings, because we want all of them to participate as much as possible for these meetings.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just have a couple of questions and maybe a comment. How many parents are on? You mentioned.
I think we ended up hearing back from 6 parents when we sent out. I think we sent out an email and tried to reach out to 10 parents, and I think 6 responded. And generally speaking, I think usually 3 or 4 are there. It's not necessarily the same 3 or 4 every meeting, but the same is true for staff. A lot of times I get email from a staff member saying, I can't attend, I'm going to be gone, I'm out today, so I won't be at the meeting. And we just send them the minutes from the meeting and the information, what the handouts were or whatever. So we probably had, I think the last calendar meeting in October, I think I had 12 people absent, and they were mailed the handouts of all the district calendars with a little note about what we had covered. And then tonight I'll do the same thing. I'll go back to the sign-in sheet and I will send back the handouts that were in the meeting tonight, which were the calendar from, I think, Katie for 23-24, the 2 proposed Spring Branch calendars. Okay. And then we'll also include in the minutes to all the members of the EIC to volunteer from each table tonight is going to electronically transpose their poster calendar to an electronic format that we can then share as a PDF to them, so everybody before the next meeting will have a chance to at least look at what the 2 samples are before we formally present them to the EIC in the next meeting.
Well, the meeting's usually at 4:15, you said, and how many years has that been going on at that time? Has it been going for quite a while?
Okay, so I was a member of EIC early in the 2000s, maybe 2001, 2002, and on it for a long time, and it seemed like it was that way since.
So the reason I'm asking is we did have a patron presentation. It does make some of the sense in some of the comments regarding by the time getting out and so forth, for people to be able to get the traffic and get there and so forth. Again, that's getting into the weeds of it, but if y'all can look at that and possibly more of a survey, because I think 3 parents, randomly, out of the 6, I don't think is really a good amount of our participation in that. I know the staff coming straight from work, they don't want to have to stay later and do that and do things like that. But I think at least 5:30, give a little bit more time and just see what kind of feedback, on that, and see if we can get some more participation with the parents to be involved with that. Because I know for 14 years I've been on the board and we've been talking about this, calendar and so forth and coming through it. And there's always that 1 week, and there's, discussion each year about, well, do we finish before Christmas break or wait till after? And I think a couple of years we waited after, but then it causes them having to kids, take a week to restudy, and because they don't, they didn't practice or they didn't study over the holiday and do that. So then it went back to right before that holiday, period. And I think the starting of it, Pastor, I think one of the reasons initially when I remember coming on was if y'all remember, the tourist bureau is one who was kind of controlling that start date, because they wanted everybody to make those last minute trips and go to San Antonio and Galveston and all these places in Texas, and that was the date. And so when the District Innovation option came over, some districts chose to sign up for that and do that just to have that start date, not because of programs, but here in Alief we've been able to use other programs and do other things with that besides just the start date. But that was one of the driving forces for a lot of districts to do that district innovation, is just to have that flexibility of the start date. in doing that. So, I mean, I'm okay with the start date. I'm okay with that part, the 1 week of that. I do have concern about that time of that meeting, to be able to do that because, and maybe, I mean, I know it's a Tuesday, but, if it's been so many years, it's a year for change and time for change and some things. So I would like y'all to consider looking at that and seeing if there's a way to, even moving it on an opposite Tuesday of a board meeting, so that it's not a rush and try to get here to a meeting and have some board participation and also some more parent participation, would be some consideration. And that's just, again, discussing, and I don't know how other my colleagues feel about that, but I think it'd be good. Not that it's going to change the outcome, but it just has more voice and more people in there, more representation. So, anyway, so.
Thank you. Thank you all for your comments. So, is there any further discussion from anyone? Okay. Hearing no further requests for discussion, we will move to our next agenda item. Thank you, Mr. Cherry.